Hey guys, how we doing? Last day, everybody's tired. Everybody's still here though. So we have a booth. I know we've talked to a few of you guys about MetWise, and my name's Chasity. I think most of you know that by now. Lead meteorologist at ENSCO, and I have Justin Balbier here too, meteorologist with ENSCO. So we wanted to kind of collaborate with you guys and see where we might be able to assist with some software and also research and also modeling. We do quite a bit. So MetWise kind of encompasses all of that. And I'll kind of explain some differences here. So we have two products called MetWise Enterprise and MetWise Net. Both of those are visualization products that work on the foundation of AWIPS 2, which is the software that the National Weather Service uses here in the United States. So we take that software as a baseline, and then we customize it, we add features, and we provide it out to other areas, universities a lot too, and companies, and then we partner with other vendors too, where we provide the software and visualization, but they may provide the hardware. On top of that, we can do the numerical weather prediction modeling. So a lot of areas don't have access to high resolution model prediction. Maybe they only have access to GFS or European data, and GFS is only quarter degree. So you're looking at roughly 25-kilometer grid spacing. What we do is we can compile WRF and configure it for you to where it's down to 1 kilometer grid spacing, or even down as far as 200-meter grid spacing to give you high resolution model predictions for your specific area. We do that all over. I actually do that primarily for the United States. There's a lot of regions in the United States that need high resolution, higher than what they can get with the HER model, which is 3-kilometer grid spacing. So we take it down to 1 kilometer as a standard, but I do oftentimes take it down to 200-meter using a large eddy simulation configuration of WRF. We also work with NASA Sport and USAID. Actually, one of our meteorologists traveled to El Salvador last year and assisted them with a WRF configuration for their country. On top of that, we have what we call MetWise Live, and that assists MetWise Enterprise and Net in that it can provide certain charts, or it can update bulletins for you, provide alarms for the forecaster. We have an example of a stoplight chart at our booth where it gives you a text product, a table, and it can highlight, similar to what AEM just showed with their river forecasting. You can see yellow and red. It turns yellow if you're approaching a certain threshold. So if you have like a temperature threshold that you want to make sure you're aware if you're approaching that certain high temperature or wind, it'll turn yellow if you're approaching it, and then red if you have met it, and then it can throw you an alarm or it can issue a bulletin, whatever you might need, we can customize that. So the way MetWise usually works is, or how do you get it? I got that question earlier. So we start with these conversations and with our partners and collaborators, and we decide what exactly the custom products the forecaster might need for MetWise. Do they want the modeling included? Do they want the stoplight chart? Do they want some other kind of chart that maybe we haven't even thought of yet? So any ideas that they have that they can provide, we'll collaborate, and our ENSCO motto is ideas to reality, right? So whatever ideas we can come up with together or individually, we'll make those reality for you. So we'll show an example of what MetWise looks like on the next slide. And it's a, do you want me to use the clicker? There we go. Thank you. So this is a hurricane product. AWIPS 2 does not come with this specific hurricane tracking image. This was created by Justin. So you can see the track, the historical track of the hurricane or the storm, and also the ensemble members' prediction out forward. And then you can have wind radii on there with whatever thresholds of wind that you would like to see. So you can see exactly what region is going to have what impact. And then this configuration too is customizable by the forecaster themselves. They can create different perspectives. If they want to see 5 different graphs on the same thing, they can overlay different images. We can also pull in all of your local data. So if you have observation stations, weather stations, lightning detection systems, radars, all of that data can be pulled in and overlaid on top of whatever model data you would want to see with it. If you're tracking, afternoon convection and you want to see exactly what time it's going to pop up, then you want your observations on there, your radar on there, you want the model predictions of pressure, temperature, humidity, all that good stuff. You can all lay it over on one image, all in one place. We've realized that a lot of people we talk to, they have the forecasters at their workstations. Most people have a couple different screens going, but they have to look at like 6 or 7 different tools to see all of the data. And they got to switch around and they don't have enough screens for that. So MetWise kind of helps with that, puts it all in one place for them. So they really just have one tool to work with, not the 6 or 7. So on the next slide, I want to describe a little bit about MetWise Enterprise versus MetWise Net. And this is specifically with the visualization software. So Enterprise is an on-site system. So you're going to have hardware on-site that you can control, and you can control the security of it. And then you'll have your physical workstations as well. But that hardware is Linux-based, and it's all yours. And then as a backup option or as an alternative, we have MetWise Net, which is completely cloud-based, so you don't need that hardware. Or in case maybe you have a flood or you have a strong storm or you lose power and your generator is not working and you lose that hardware, the enterprise part, then we have the backup cloud version. So that way your forecaster never loses access to all the data and can still provide forecasts and bulletins as long as they still have internet. We can't control the internet, right? But as long as they still have a laptop with a browser and internet, they could still get to MetWise. They could still produce forecasts even if you lose your hardware. So just a few other examples. We have some custom products. We overlay aviation information. So if you want to see where airplanes are or where they're coming in, overlaid with radar data or icing information, we can have all that information in there too. And then you can actually toggle over or click on the little airplane and it gives you all the airplane information, how fast they're traveling, what altitude they're at, the actual plane number, so you know which plane it is. So all that information is available. And then again, any ideas that you would have that you would want included, we could talk about and make it happen. So I know a lot of you have already seen our booth, but we do have MetWise Net live going. So if you would want to see anything that for your region, or we can look at any model information or radars. I think I've covered it. Any questions?
I feel I'm talking too much at this conference. Please forgive me. Okay, you mentioned WRF. I heard that WRF is kind of going away. I'm not sure if that's true or not. And I wanted to ask if that's true. What other options do we have? I heard about Icon, but I'm not sure if that is, if that works. Someone told me that WRF works best with GFS. I don't know if that's true or not, and the Icon works best with ECMWF or something like that. I'm asking because through SOF, we are getting ECMWF feed, Belize, and we're kind of thinking about how to either run WRF or Icon on a high resolution for model data. So I just want to know what's the future of WRF, and maybe we can talk afterwards about other stuff, but WRF and what options, other options are there for local NWP runs?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I'm very involved with INCAR, and I attend the WARF and impasse workshops every summer. Actually, there's one in a few weeks, so I'll be going out to Colorado for that. So WARF is not going away. It will still be there. It's going to be there for a long time. It is the most mature model system that INCAR has produced. impasse, model for prediction across scales, that is the second model that INCAR has produced, and that is the replacement for WARF. However, impasse is MPAS. I had it on the first slide. We have configured impasse before too for some customers, and currently impasse is pretty young, and their INCAR has devoted all of their resources to developing impasse. So WARF is not supported in terms of development by INCAR anymore. So that's why you've heard that WARF might be going away. Just because they've stopped development, they've focused all development on impasse. And the reason why is because impasse has a different, a global mesh, and then you can refine that down to regional scale too. But it uses like hexagons and pentagons versus gridded squares. So it actually does produce better meteorological predictions, and it calculates better a little bit with the grid, especially in polar regions. Not important for this conference, but that's why they're pushing towards impasse, because of the grid instead of using WARF's Lambert conformal or Mercator projections. So WARF is still going to be around, and primarily I use WARF. Only a couple customers have requested impasse, and that's just because I suggested it and because it was global and it was a little bit easier to use, and it was a little higher or lower resolution, higher grid spacing. So the WARF is the best now to get to lower resolutions. Impasse, because it's still young, they're still developing the regional high resolution. So it's very hard with impasse to get down to like 1 kilometer and only run it for a certain region. That's very hard to do right now until they develop a little bit more. So I still use WARF for getting down to 1 kilometer. And for the 200 meter, I have to run WARF as a large eddy simulation, and they don't have that working within the impasse code. And actually, because impasse was so young, when I used it for my customer, I had to actually edit the impasse code to include other variables that they were not outputting. So it's still young. Eventually, though, I think impasse is the one that is going to be what everyone goes to. I don't know much about ICON, so I can't speak to that one. But I do know that WARF and impasse both can work with ECMWF. And I actually prefer ECMWF with WARF over GFS. So that is definitely an option. Was there another question in there, or did I cover it? Okay, yeah. All right, thank you guys.